welcome to the Glitter podcast with me, Gillian Gossel. Now, today my guest is Nick Odio, Chief Growth Officer of Ferrum Network. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Gillian. Nice to see you.
No, delighted. So tell me just a bit about your background, Nick. We were discussing already, you've got Italian blood in you, but tell me about your career background, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually got started playing music for a long time, believe it or not. It was a professional musician for many years, but got into crypto at around 2017 and started working with Ferrum around 2020, March of 2021. So I've been with Ferrum for almost 2 years now.
Brilliant.
Yep, came on to help them in the area of partnerships and kind of grew into this expanded role of Chief Growth Officer over the last 2 years. Yeah, really, dove deep into crypto back in 2017. Started, doing a lot of investments of my own. Started to get deeper down the rabbit hole in terms of, just infrastructure, interoperability, DeFi, and really trying to understand things from a more, holistic perspective. And yeah, my journey led me to Ferrum. Started investing in pre-sales and some early stage projects through Ferrum. Joined the governance committee, and then came on as a full-time employee and have since grown into the.
Which is so cool, isn't it? I love that about crypto. People join, they volunteer, they get involved. Next minute, the community, the platforms. Ooh, this is a bright person. Let's bring him on as a permanent member of staff. So tell me a little bit about what Ferrum Network does.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Ferrum got started back in 2018, launched the token in 2019, raised a very small amount of money at the peak of the bull run, and market tanked. Had to get very creative really quickly how we were going to survive the impending crypto winter that ensued thereafter, and started creating blockchain as a service products. The original intent with Ferrum was to build a network to service the needs of the interoperability needs of the space. But due to the small amount of money that was raised and the impending bear market, needed to take a little bit longer trajectory to get there. So we started creating products that generated revenue. Created our staking as a service suite of products first, which we've since deployed for about 200 projects across BSC, Avalanche, Ethereum, Polygon, and now Algorand, with Glitter Finance being our first staking partner. And so those products have done really well for us. That led us to other blockchain as a service products, such as white label bridging solutions. It also led us to an incubator called Ferrum Advisory Services, which has been responsible for incubating about 24 projects to date, some of which have gone on to be quite successful. These have been incredible B2B lines of revenue for the company that have allowed us to weather 2 bear markets now and actually scale the team from about 6 to 35 employees.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah. I really like the idea. So it's hard in this industry. You expect all to raise money, and then you didn't run away. The company pivoted and came up with money making platforms, which actually makes sense. Ordinary business does that. If you think about it, people think, oh, I've got to make revenue. You can't just rely on selling tokens. So,
yeah, which is a very different notion for Web3 in general, like you mentioned, and something that I think bears attention given the current state of the market, with a lot of what's happening with the insolvency issues of different VC firms and things like that. You're kind of exposed to a lot of dumping of the token if you have a lot of VCs backing you. And Ferrum is a very distributed token amongst our community. We don't have any VCs holding it. So when you hear things about, oh, DCG could be insolvent or Grayscale could be insolvent, it's like, what does that mean for the projects that they've invested in? It doesn't. It's kind of scary for some of these VC driven projects. Wow. So that's kind of, we're grateful for that in times like this, that we're a community held token.
That is interesting, and you're making a virtue out of a necessity, which is really, really impressive. So you ran through a number of different blockchains, and Algorand is the most recent one. So tell me, What's your thinking? Are you going to be agnostic? Is that right? You've got, well, you list about 5 different blockchains.
Yeah, so really good question. So remember how I mentioned earlier, our original intent with Ferrum was to service the Web3's needs with interoperability. We kind of took a circuitous route to get to where we are through these different blockchain as a service products. But because we've been able to scale the team and we're able to focus on a little bit more of an ambitious undertaking now, we are focused on interoperability. So Ferrum is ushering in what we call the era of interoperability 2.0, which is more than just bridging assets across networks. It's about bringing these networks together, removing the layers of friction that exist between builders and dApps by allowing people to build multi-chain decentralized applications through not just the bridging of assets across networks, but the bridging of or the movement of information, data, and messaging across networks to enable multi-chain smart contracts, the collection of multi-chain smart contracts, which eventually is a multi-chain dApp. And Algorand is one of the actually the first non-EVM compatible network that we've integrated our staking products with, which is just the first step towards reducing more layers of friction between the Algorand ecosystem and EVM compatible networks, as well as other non-EVM Rust-based languages as well.
So that's a new challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. But the goal is to to not just bring our products and services to the network, but also integrate them with our upcoming mainnet at some point, which is powered by something called the Quantum Portal, which is a multi-chain messaging engine that enables this sort of interoperable layer one, if you will, that will allow folks to build on one network and deploy across multiple networks. So
Quantum Portal.
yeah,
What
so
a cool
Algorand.
name.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of fun. So Algorand being one of the networks that we've partnered with from an early stage, and that kind of put their faith in us to bring our products over. We'll be prioritizing them in the integration of the mainnet so that multi-chain dApps can exist across Algorand and other networks as well.
And so you're a recipient of an Algorand grant helping you to do this work. What is special about the Algorand tech? What is the team like?
Yeah, I mean, I think their financial settlement value proposition is special. I think PyTeal is a pretty unique language that these guys have come up with. That from everything that I've heard from our developers who have been working on this integration, it's been a very easy learning curve, which is huge. Developability, I would say, is key in for any network to really gain traction and attract developers, right? Is ease of use of the network, or the degree of developability is, I guess, the word that we throw around that isn't really a word, but kind of is in Web3.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Algorand has done a really good job of with PyTeal, but also the documentation is super important. And from everything that I've known from our dev team throughout the course of this process, the integration has gone really smoothly because of proper documentation, error messaging, things like that. So yeah, and then on top of, just from a biz dev standpoint too, they've got the whole thing with football, soccer, as for Americans watching, and so they've got some really next level partnerships. Overall, the team has been extremely present the entire time through the integration, extremely helpful anytime any sort of blockers have come up, the few that have. And you know, they've got a very cohesive unit going on, from the marketing department to the biz dev to the DevOps and developer support programs. Yeah, all around, you know, from marketing to biz dev to developer relations, it's been really fantastic working with them. And the network itself is, like everything I mentioned before, is got a lot going for it.
Brilliant. So that's your interaction with Algorand. How did you come to find Glitter as your first project? How did that come about?
Yeah, you know, I want to say that either Nathan on our team or Anam actually met somebody from Glitter in person at one of the more recent conferences, which is always great to go to these in-person events and meet folks in real life. We kind of get stuck behind our screens sometimes and think everyone's must just be a an avatar, but we're real people. And so, you know, meeting folks at conferences is always fun, and always seems to hold a little bit more weight when doing so. I believe that's where the connection came from. And then I was spearheading the Algorand integration, or at least um, the logistics side of it, not the development side of it. So we were really looking for our first Algorand partner within the ecosystem to utilize our staking tech. And we were really pushing our biz dev team to find our first partner over there. And Nathan and Anam teamed up to reach out to Glitter again, and it seemed like it was perfect alignment in terms of timing with what they were trying to push. So, you know, sometimes it's necessary to have a reason to utilize this staking tech, and it seemed like it was good timing for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I imagine there will be more of this in the future, when this staking pool has kind of reached its maturation date, and people are able to withdraw the rewards and their principal. I imagine there will be more of this with Glitter in the future. But we see, anytime we like partner with a project, we see this as a long-term partnership, where, you know, there's, when we bring other products over to the network, that they could leverage those. They can leverage our network, which is the Iron Alliance. So now we're proud to say that Glitter Finance is part of the Iron Alliance, which is our ecosystem of partners, which consists of a vast array of various partners across the space, that they have full access to tap into now.
Like an alumni or an ecosystem.
Yeah, totally.
That's so cool. So
lots more opportunities and stuff now. Yeah.
So do you think so Algorand was the first non-EVM compatible blockchain? Are there other blockchains that you're looking at, or would you build your own?
So Ferrum is building our own network. Yeah. We're actually building within the substrate framework. So we'll be launching our own layer one, but the key differentiator between what we're building and other networks is that a lot of times networks are referred to as ETH killers, right? Especially DApp platforms, smart contract platforms. Whereas Ferrum, we've actually kind of coined this term infinity layer. It's not really a technical term, but it's the idea is that instead of having you've got layer ones, which allow for applications to be built on top of them. You've got layer twos, which are kind of these scaling solutions for the layer ones. You've got layer zeros, which are the blockchain of blockchains, right? You've got Cosmos and Polkadot, which allow you to build a network within this kind of overall internet of blockchain, so to speak. So Ferrum is using Substrate to build a network on top of Polkadot to leverage their consensus. But the the overarching goal of Ferrum Network is to reduce the layers of friction between networks outside of that ecosystem, outside of the EVM compatible framework as well, and towards other isolated networks such as Algorand, Rust-based languages that like networks such as Solana or Near. So yes, there are many other networks. To answer your question, there's many other networks that we're looking to integrate with, and to answer your other question, we are building our own network. But the purpose of that network is to bring these other networks that we're integrating with closer together by enabling multi-chain dApps and multi-chain smart contracts.
Wow, you have gone down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No, amazing. So one final question then. If people want to find out more, to partner, to get involved with the staking pools, and any of the good stuff, where can they go to find you?
Yeah, so our website is a great place. We have a form online, so if you're looking to actually leverage the staking tech, you can go to ferrum.network and find a form on the site there. Also, if you're looking just to stay up to date with what we're doing, Twitter is we're always posting on Twitter. Our Telegram is very, very active. So we'd love to have you guys in our Twitter and Telegram channels. Our Discord is also kind of ramping up. So Discord would be a fun place to have people join as well. We've got a YouTube channel as well, which we'll be having David on our YouTube channel to talk about this partnership from his perspective as well, which will be exciting. And so we'll have, we have a constant stream of content from our YouTube channel that also gets turned into a podcast. So you can find us there. Medium is another really good place. We're constantly putting out articles. And
You're everywhere.
Yeah. So
well, I have to say, there's three. I love the new terms like the infinity layer, the quantum portal, and there was the other one you said that wasn't a real word. It wasn't interoperability, but it was based on that word.
Yeah, developability.
Developability, thank you. These are all great new Web3 terms that you're coining. You heard it here first. So Nick, thank you so much for your time today. It's brilliant. Looking forward to seeing this progress. It's great that Glitter and yourselves are partnering, and I look forward to seeing the success of the staking pools. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Joanne. Really appreciate it.